Oh,
Hello and welcome to my assignment 10 presentation, Perspectives in Psychology. So first of all, I thought I'd start out by highlighting the different psychological perspectives. So psychological perspectives are a way we try to categorise and understand the behaviours of individuals. So that's allowing psychologists to better understand behaviour. The differing perspectives are varying approaches to understanding why individuals behave the way that they do. It's helpful to understand multiple perspectives so that you can understand the views and the perspectives of different individuals. So there are five main psychological perspectives. There's behaviourism, cognitive psychology, psychoanalysis or psychodynamic psychology, biological psychology and social psychology. So the first one I've chosen to analyse is cognitive psychology. So this perspective looks at how individuals think and their mental processes. So this covers areas that include memory, how they perceive, recall and forgetting. This perspective picks up on the areas that were rejected by behaviourists. So this is the observable mental processes like decision making, problem solving, reasoning and memory. These processes affect an individual's behaviour. Perception is how individuals recognise, organise and interpret the information that we experience. Cognitive psychology has two ways that we process information: bottom-up and top-down processing. Bottom-up processing takes information from the environment around the person. This information is then converted into action potentials. These signals are then transmitted through the body from the brain. Top-down processing takes into account a person's experiences, knowledge and experience of the environment around them. So social psychology is the study of how we behave and interact in society, how we conform to societal norms. A significant amount of this varies with the culture and who we are with. Changing behaviours based on who you are with or where you are is known as social influence. Social influence looks at how our behaviours, thoughts and feelings can be influenced either by the presence of people or the imagined presence. So it assumes that you're going to be constantly perceived by others even though you are potentially by yourself, and how what you are doing whilst you're alone is going to be perceived by others. So this is due to the human need to feel that we belong in societies and cultures. The results conforming to societal norms. Social psychology covers a wide range of topics that study behaviour, so the group behaviour, social perception, leadership, conformity, aggression and prejudice. These factors will all have an impact on how a person perceives themselves and others in social situations. So analysing cognitive psychology, there are five key assumptions in cognitive psychology. The first one is internal mental processes can be studied. The human mind works like a computer, so following logical thought processes. Individuals or information processes involve input, storage, retrieval of data experience. Behaviour is caused by these internal mental processes. Our internal mental framework impacts our thoughts and processes. The key assumptions allow for behaviour to be studied. It is believed that this can be studied empirically, as the human mind can behave similarly to a computer due to following its own thought processes based on the information it's collected. So these are your experiences. This processing involves mental activities such as memory, perception, reasoning and language, so we've highlighted above. The way we process information is based on stored experiences that have significantly affected our behaviour. So for example, if a person has had a positive experience with an individual or in a place, they're more likely to enjoy look forward to going back there, as the previous experiences have been positive. So social psychology, so there are only three key assumptions here, and these are: our behaviour and internal thought processes are influenced by the people around us and the environment we are in. Human behaviour always happens with social context, even if the individual is alone. The relationships we have with other people influence our thought processes and behaviours. So social psychology is the study of ourselves and others in surrounding environments. It looks at the social interactions we have and how this affects us as individuals, influence our behaviours, ideas and emotions. This can be seen as when an individual from a different country adapts to the societal norms of the environment that they're in. So, looking at cognitive psychology is John Paget's theory of cognitive development. So Paget outlined in his work that he believed that there were 4 main stages of development that children move through. These represent different abilities and how they may understand the world. The 4 stages are below. So the first phase is 0 to 2 years old. This is a sensomotor phase. Babies learn through movement and the developing senses. They enjoy touching, looking and listening. This allows them to learn from the environment around them. Through interaction, they also learn to form object permanence. So it's like if you hide the object behind something, for example, it's still there, but it's not gone. 2 to 7 is the pre-operational stage. Children are starting to learn how to play. They are egocentric thinkers, so it's all about themselves. They struggle to think how others may be feeling or perceived, and obviously perceived by them. So 7 to 11 is the concrete operational stage. Children in this stage are able to start thinking more logically. They're able to converse with others and form simple mental processes. Formal operation stage is from 11 years onwards. So this is individuals can now engage with abstract thoughts, hypothetical thinking, and are also able to understand how others are thinking and feeling. So Paget theories outline 4 main beliefs of how we process and develop. The way that Paget tested if children understand object permanence can be flawed, however, as he believed if an infant cannot see the object, they believe it does not exist. So the toys that he used for testing may have influenced children, as if a child is more interested in the toy, they're more likely to go looking for it and search for it, whilst if it's a toy that they're not so interested in, they're more likely to move on to the next thing, on something that can be actually seen by them. The strength of this theory, however, is that the children involved in the studies developed at a similar rate through his 4 stages. However, this can be disputed, as he often studied his own children and those of a similar and social and economic upbringing of his own. This lack of diversity and inclusion means his data may not have been accurate as once thought, as children from more or less privileged backgrounds may develop differently. Children from different races and cultures may also develop faster or slower than those involved in his studies. So social psychology is Tadfel and Tomb's social identity theory. So this theory states that individuals take a sense of who they are as individuals from the groups that they belong to. It defines groups as anyone as members from sports teams, religious groups and genders. So there are 5 main points to this theory. So the social categorisation. This is how individuals group themselves and others based on who they identify with, based on characteristics and social interests. Social identification. When individuals have characterised themselves into groups, they start to adopt that group's identity, adopting its behaviours, values and norms. Social comparison. Individuals start to compare their groups with others. This leads to bias in favour of the individual's own group. This causes favouritism within the group. In and out groups. This leads to individuals thinking that their group may be better than others. This enhances their own belief in the group. Positive distinctiveness. This is the need for positive self-esteem. The need for positive self-esteem motivates in the groups. This leads to them seeing themselves as being distinct from other groups. So this highlights that groups generally perceive their own group that they identify with to be superior to the other groups. The main strength of this theory is that it identifies in groups and out groups, and why we are more likely to identify with individuals and groups that we categorise in. It also highlights the importance of bias, as those who we identify with are more likely to bias towards us. In society, this can be presented as opportunities being given to you that wouldn't have been given to you if you were associated with that specific group. So if you've been to a specific school, university, club, potentially more likely get job offers from the people that you've interacted with. However, this theory suggests that groups will automatically be opposed to one another, leading to conflict between groups. However, when in practice, in-groups and out-groups have been able to cooperate and coexist. So this is shown through the globe by different cultures and religions being able to get on seamlessly together. So there's the similarities and differences in psychological perspectives. So cognitive and biological psychology. So cognitive psychology is about thought process and how we think based on experience, while biological psychology is based on how our brain, nervous systems, hormones, genetics impact our behaviour. The similarities between the two, such as they are both more in favour of the nature versus nurture debate. They believe that things are predetermined due to the genetic makeup of the individual, and the research methods they rely upon need empirical data, as they are able to be observed. Their similar outlooks on the nature versus nurture debate indicates that they believe genetics mostly make up an individual's behaviour, and the way we are brought up in the environment around us can have little biological impact. This is also shown in the determinism versus free will debate, believing that our mental thought processes are predictable. Biological psychologists will see this down to our genetic makeup. The data types of these two are both similar, as they're both observable either visually or using technology such as a brain scan. They differ in the nature versus nurture debate, as cognitive psychology recognises that both have an impact on shaping the behaviour of an individual, while biological psychology focuses on the areas of the body that perceive these thoughts or process these thoughts. They believe that the brain, nervous system and genetics make up the thought process of an individual, making nurture's impact minimal. Differences can be seen on their views of determinism versus free will. Cognitive psychologists recognise that nurture has an impact on behaviours, allowing some free will. This is known as soft determinism. Biological psychology believes that behaviour is based on genes inherited from both parents. This is known as hard determinism. They take different sides in the reduction versus holism debate. Cognitive psychology takes a holistic approach. They want to understand the human condition and understand that individuals are complex. Biological psychology takes a reductionist approach, meaning that they think behaviour and thought processes are carried out by the brain, neurotransmitters and genes. There is a small difference in the research methods. Both are reliant on empirical research data. Cognitive psychology leaves room for individuals to come to their own conclusions based on their own beliefs and observations. So contemporary issues in psychology. So contemporary issues defined as problems that are still relevant in modern day-to-day life. So these can be issues from social, economic, environmental and ethical. These issues can arise for a multitude of reasons, like changes in lifestyle, technology and ecosystem. So biological psychology looks at the physical, biological factors that lead to poor mental health in individuals. As previously looked at, these physical factors can be determined by genes and brain chemistry, as this is treating the physical symptoms of mental health issues. They can be resolved by medication that alters the brain chemistry to produce hormones and improve neurotransmitters that help alleviate the symptoms medically. Medication can range from antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, mood suppressors and antipsychotics. Addressing the physical symptoms with medication allows for quick relief from mental health issues. However, the drawbacks to this approach is that it only addresses the physical symptoms and altering brain chemistry and does not address the root causes. This approach is best used alongside therapy such as cognitive behavioural therapy or CBT, as this can reprogram the brain to think differently. There are drawbacks to this, as it is there's drawbacks to this type of therapy, is it's very time consuming and it doesn't work with individuals who have illnesses like schizophrenia, where antipsychotic medication is much significantly more effective. There are a multitude of reasons as to why morale in the workplace can be lower on the decline. This could be down to poor leadership, lack of work-life balance, poor cooperation in between teams. Behaviourism can be used to increase morale as employees are rewarded for their positive contributions and behaviours. Employees are more likely to be motivated, engaged and feel valued if they are rewarded for productive behaviours. This is known as positive reinforcement. Rewards and recognition improve motivation and performance. This can be done in the form of financial incentives, additional holidays, or other prizes, or continual good performance being easily tracked towards promotions and pay increases. There are drawbacks to this approach. Using positive reinforcement may not address the initial reasons for morale being low in the workplace, such as the reasons highlighted above. This can, in cases where morale rises initially and then falls away again, suggest that there could be underlying issues that need to be dealt with effectively to raise long-term morale. This approach in helpful is raising morale in the short term, so this could be used if there is a significant deadline that needs to be met within a company. However, in most cases it will be more beneficial to run this positive reinforcement alongside addressing the root causes of why morale is so poor. And that comes to the end of my presentation, so thank you.